A community in mourning after a driver hit and killed a woman on a South Bay street. The woman, a popular community activist, Maria Marcelo. Her death is a loss to so many, but it also marks a grim milestone for San Jose. This is the 31st traffic-related pedestrian death this year. It is the highest number in the city's recorded history. The previous yearly high was in 2019 when 29 pedestrians died.
This death also hitting close to home for one of our NBC Bay Area team members. Damien Trujillo tells the story.
One word people are using to describe Maria Marcelo is fierce. She didn't care if you were the mayor or the police chief. She just wanted you to help fight for her community. They gathered at their weekly meeting spot this morning to share stories about Maria Marcelo.
Something she really impacted me to do is to help other people, no matter if they were good or bad.
San Jose's entire Washington community is in shock this morning after the loss of their fiercest leader. Maria Marcelo was an immigrant who used her powerful voice to speak up for other immigrants, whether the topic was crime, education, prostitution, health care, and more.
How can I do with my kids? I need to go to work.
Last night, Maria was leading her community group in a nightly novena pilgrimage when a car struck and killed her while trying to cross Little Orchard Street. Her death marks a grim milestone. 31 pedestrians have now died in San Jose traffic accidents this year, the highest rate in the city's recorded history.
The victim in this case was preparing to help the larger group cross when she went out into Little Orchard and was struck by the vehicle.
Police say the driver is cooperating and did not appear to be on drugs or alcohol. Tonight, her community and her family are left with a heavy heart. I spoke with Maria's sisters. Nancy says her sister was always doing something to unite her community. A person who always worried about others before herself, says Mercedes, and she always kept an eye on City Hall, making sure her community was getting all the services it deserved.
Very fierce. She couldn't take no for an answer.
Councilman-elect Omar Torres says Maria helped mold him as a youth leader in the Washington district, making sure he had his priorities straight. So at Torres' election night party 1 month ago, there was Maria, already bending his ear.
And already sitting me down and telling me, this is what I want to do in the Washington community, and you were born and raised there, so you can't forget where you came from.
Tonight, Maria's community vows her fight is not over. They are picking up the torch and continuing the tireless work of the woman who stood up for them for so many years. Maria would want it no other way. Damien Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
It's been a week since a beloved community leader was killed while crossing a street in San Jose. Those who knew and worked with Maria Marcelo have found a way to honor her. Here's NBC Bay Area's Damien Trujillo.
Maria Marcelo fought to keep the Washington Youth Center open, to expand the hours and get kids off the streets. Now her colleagues say they will continue that fight in her memory. Her shrine still adorns the Healing Grove Health Center, a place Maria Marcelo co-founded to provide mental health, homeless assistance, counseling, and other critical community services. You'll also find a few tears these days, even though they try hard to keep them in.
We had no time to cry. We had no time because her programs are continuing at this very moment.
Besides, they say Maria wouldn't want them crying. She'd want them fighting for those who don't have a voice, just like she did so fiercely for so many years.
With Maria, there was no option B. With her, it was always like, no, we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to do it.
Maria was killed last Wednesday. She was leading a religious holiday pilgrimage when she stepped onto the road and was hit by a car. But her spirit remains alive and vibrant in this low-income, mostly immigrant community, a woman who earned respect and got results even when she had to ruffle a few feathers.
If we weren't doing enough for her community, she would let us know.
Former San Jose Police Chief Eddie Garcia now heads the Dallas department. He says Maria helped him establish trust with the immigrant community, which is often fearful of police. But in return, she made him promise protect her community like it was San Jose's most important neighborhood.
Absolutely hold our feet to the fire. She held me to my feet to the fire. And again, I'm proud that I had an opportunity to work with her.
For her tireless, selfless work, Maria's neighbors are now picking up her cause to open a youth center 50 hours per week for public programs. And now they're calling for the Washington Youth Center to be renamed after her. Those who knew her say it's difficult to imagine who would get in the way. Not against Maria.
I'm sure she will look down with a smile on her face and say, I'm still going to hold you all accountable.
Maria Marcelo, a community lion whose name may soon adorn the community center she fought so hard to protect. Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
To San Jose now, where the mayor is joining the community in mourning the sudden death of local activist Maria Marcelo. In fact, she was working a community event when she was struck and killed crossing a street last night. The 47-year-old is the 61st person to die in a traffic accident in San Jose this year alone. That's a 25-year high. KPIX5's Lauren Toms joins us live from the Community Health Center Marcelo helped found. Lauren?
Yeah, an entire community is in mourning this evening, but you can feel a turn towards celebrating the life of Maria Marcelo as local residents remember her for improving the lives of hundreds of people in this community, starting right here at the health center she helped to create.
A brilliant leader. I mean, it's just hard to describe how incredibly powerful of a leader that she was.
That's how Maria Marcelo is being remembered in the Washington district in San Jose. A force in her community, Brett Bymaster describes Maria as one of his best friends.
Just devastated. Somebody that, you know, you love a lot. I've heard a lot of people say she was a second mom to me, and if that's the case, she had probably a couple hundred kids. And man, it's devastating to lose someone who, you know, is such a vibrant part of our community.
Bymaster was a founding partner alongside Maria of the Healing Grove Health Center, a place for this community to seek health care beyond treatments of a typical doctor's office.
He used to joke that she's the mayor of the Washington community, so she was the go-to person when anybody had a problem or had a struggle, when there was a death in the community, when someone needed counseling, when someone experienced domestic violence. So she's really the core organizer of the community.
On Wednesday evening, Maria was leading Virgen de Juquila, a traditional Christmas pilgrimage popular in her hometown of Oaxaca, Mexico, when she was struck and killed by a car in the intersection of Perrymont Avenue and Little Orchard Street. Bymaster said she was with a group of roughly 200 others, even one holding a large stop sign that was allegedly ignored by the driver.
There's other variables as well. We're in an era now of distracted driving. A lot of people are on their phones. Not that any of that was a factor in this collision. All the information that I have received this morning is the driver of the vehicle, who I will add cooperated with the investigation. There is no alcohol or drug influence suspected, was driving at normal speeds.
The incident marks the 31st pedestrian fatality and the 61st traffic death in San Jose this year, as officials warn drivers and pedestrians to exercise heightened caution on busy streets.
We're sad to report, unfortunately, this is a 25-year high for us. The statistics that I had ready available this morning go back to 1997, and the numbers that we are sharing today are an all-time high for us.
Tributes to Maria have poured in from the greater San Jose community, honoring her work and spirit, including Mayor Sam Liccardo, who praised her work fighting for the health and well-being of immigrant families in this neighborhood. And Bymaster says Maria is leaving behind shoes that can only be filled by the entire community working together.
He built a network that wasn't about her, it was about us. And the beautiful thing is that she spent the past 22 years in our community building leadership. And that's what she's going to leave behind. And so there's just a vibrant network of leadership among people who are really living in poverty.
Now, Maria was also working to expand the operating hours and activities provided at a nearby youth center. And Bymaster tells me that once it's up and running, they plan to name it in Maria's memory. In San Jose, I'm Lauren Toms, KPIX5.
Such a loss to that community. All right, Lauren, thank you.
Also in the South Bay, family, friends, and San Jose city leaders are honoring the life of a devoted community leader. Maria Marcelo was killed Wednesday night after she was hit by a car just while trying to cross the street. KRON 4's Justin Campbell reports on how the community plans to carry out her legacy.
A community activist being honored as a powerhouse. Friday, hundreds of people gathered at the Washington United Youth Center to share their memories of Maria Marcelo.
We always pretended like we're Maria's boss, and Maria was absolutely the boss.
The 47-year-old was killed Wednesday night after getting hit by a car on Little Orchard Street. This is scene video from the Citizen app. Her friends say Marcelo was leading a religious procession at the time.
She fought so hard here at the Washington Youth Center to open up more programs for the youth, at Washington Elementary to get the moms involved in really advocating for their children, particularly Spanish-speaking moms.
Mayor Sam Liccardo says Marcelo was the voice of the immigrant community. Marcelo was also co-founder of Healing Grove Health Center in San Jose, helping to provide health care to the poor along with Jesus.
She would want us to continue that, to really, really grow our Catholic ministries and work together with our Protestants.
Dr. Angela Bymaster says Marcelo would want them to utilize the Washington United Youth Center more. Marcelo felt it was underutilized and would like to add more sports, arts, and activities. Bymaster says they hope to do so in an effort to carry out Marcelo's legacy.
We really, really want to rename it the Maria Marcelo Youth Center and just fill it up every single day with people.
Reporting in San Jose, Justin Campbell, KRON 4 News.
In the South Bay, the San Jose community is mourning the death of a beloved advocate. Maria Marcelo was killed while leading a traditional prayer procession at the corner of Perrymont Avenue and Little Orchard Street last night. ABC 7 News reporter Amanda Del Castillo has more on Marcelo's impact and how she's being honored.
A black bow now hangs over the entrance of the Healing Grove Health Center in San Jose. Another is affixed to the office door of Maria Marcelo, center co-founder and beloved community leader. Marcelo was hit and killed Wednesday night while leading a rosary procession as part of the 9-day Virgen de Juquila tradition.
There were children there. There were, lots of families there. And it's just not something anyone ever wants to see happen.
Dr. Angela Bymaster is a family physician with Healing Grove and a close friend of Marcelo. Bymaster says Marcelo spent months planning the days-long Oaxacan Christmas time tradition and was killed on the 8th night of celebration. Less than 24 hours later, Marcelo's loved ones were determined to continue her work, even if that meant getting back out there on foot for the final night of prayer.
Maria's daughter actually spoke up and said she would want us to walk. There's this courage that Maria had that was like, if something bad happens, you don't run from it.
Only this time with San Jose police escort. Marcelo's death marks the city's 61st traffic death in this record year. But more than statistics, Bymaster wants Marcelo to be remembered for who she was and her many contributions.
I always tell people she's the Cesar Chavez of our community. Anything that happened in this neighborhood has her fingerprints all over it.
A woman ingrained in her city, dedicated to seeing others thrive, described as selfless in every sense.
Even though we're a really big community and she has so many connections, she cared about you.
She was just so full of love.
Marcelo leaves behind 3 adult children, a husband, and a community that came together by the hundreds Thursday night in her honor.
It was about Virgen of Juquila, but now it's about her.
In San Jose, I'm Amanda Del Castillo, ABC 7 News.
If we find a perfect word, it's overwhelming.
Gone, but by no means forgotten, the South Bay comes together to remember a woman dedicated to making a difference in her community. Good evening, I'm Ama Dates.
And I'm Dan Ashley. Thank you for joining us. New at 11, hundreds gathered in San Jose tonight for the funeral mass of a beloved activist and community leader who was fatally struck by a car. We've reported on the record number of traffic deaths on San Jose streets this year. But more than a statistic, loved ones are making sure that Maria Marcelo's legacy will be one that lasts. ABC 7 News reporter Amanda Del Castillo is in the South Bay.
Even in her passing, Maria Marcelo continues to bring people together. At San Jose's Sacred Heart of Jesus Parish Friday, standing room only for the funeral mass for the community activist and faith leader. Marcelo was hit by a car and killed while leading a prayer procession last Wednesday night.
It's overwhelming, right? If we find a perfect word, it's overwhelming.
Marcelo's daughter also named Maria, describing the days since the tragedy. The outpouring of support is not only helping the family through their grief, but it's also highlighting the widely felt impact of her mother's work.
I know growing up, you always want to be like your mom, but it's cool to know that there's other people as well that really think that what she was doing was worth time.
Working on crime in the community, prostitution, drugs. She's worked on helping families suffering with domestic violence and addiction. She's even, served extensively in the homeless camps in our community.
Marcelo's outreach drawing Mayor Sam Liccardo, SJPD Chief Anthony Mata, and hundreds more to Friday's Mass.
Thanks to the Lord for Maria as a wonderful gift for her family, for her friends, and for our community.
For all she's done, family and friends are now advocating to rename the Washington United Youth Center to the Maria Marcelo Youth Center.
But it also implies a lot of work, right? We want to make sure that youth center is utilized properly. We want to make sure that it isn't changed to her name and then forgotten. It's about building a legacy and building something that she would be proud of.
Beyond a name change, a community-wide challenge to make a difference, to live like Marcelo.
Fighting for something that you know is better is something we should all strive for. It's part of her faith, it's part of who she is, but it's also characteristics that we can all build up, because if we all try to be like her, this world would be so much better.
In San Jose, I'm Amanda Del Castillo, ABC 7 News.